For my new novel, I created a fictional script in the tradition of J.R.R. Tolkien, and I'm going to tell you how I did it and how you can if you want. We should start with why. The most direct answer is because it's super cool. And it's really for the same reason that you draw a map, because that's one of the ingredients of the genre. It's one of the things that produces the atmosphere, the promise that you're going to enter this truly different world. And because it's fun, because it's a challenge, both aesthetically and intellectually. And that's what we're here for, right? Now, I knew that I was specifically interested in a script, something graphical that could appear printed on the page. The direct inspiration here was, of course, the inscription on the One Ring. Reading The Fellowship of the Ring, you encounter it very early on. And in those opening chapters, it's this wonderful invitation and sort of promise. It also just looks awesome on the page. I mean, it looks great, this graphic element that's so weird. And I wanted some of that feeling for myself. So how do you get started? I love it when there actually just is a right answer. In this case, it's this terrific little book, The Language Construction Kit by Mark Rosenfelder. Now, there is a lot in this book, and you don't have to do all of it. In fact, you probably shouldn't do all of it if what you're looking for, what you're trying to develop, is an ingredient in a larger project, a book, a video game, a graphic novel. Now, there's one more book that was absolutely crucial to my development process, and that's this one, Writing Systems of the World, this slim little volume by Akira Nakanishi. So basically, this is like a visual encyclopedia, and it's more examples than anything else. You just go page by page, region by region, and you see all these different ways of writing. Alphabets, abjads, syllabaries, from ancient times and modern. And I think flipping through this book, you quickly find your favorites. You discover what kind of shapes speak to you for whatever reason. So I took Mark Rosenfelder's advice, and inspired by Nakanishi's book, I just started making shapes. I drew and drew and drew. I mean, just pages of these things. And slowly but surely, I found my way to a set of sort of related shapes that just seemed like they might work. It took some time to kind of connect these to different sounds and create a logical system, like a way in which these shapes could actually be an alphabet. But eventually I got there, and I got to a system that I was pretty happy with. Here's where it gets interesting, because at the outset of this project, I didn't know exactly where this script was going to fit into the story and the world of this novel. I knew I wanted to have one, and I knew there were ways it could be used to kind of create a sense of mystery and deep culture, but I didn't know exactly what that was going to be. So what happened is that essentially the story and the script developed together, one influencing the other, kind of a complex, multi-variable equation. Maybe that sounds like a recipe for chaos, but for me, it felt fun and healthy and natural, and it arrived somewhere really wonderful that I couldn't have predicted when I began working on the script. Now, obviously, Tolkien did it different. He spent a few decades perfecting his language before finally deploying it in a fictional context, but I'm going to go ahead and say that you should not do that. I think trying to figure it all out ahead of time is, well, there's another word for that. Procrastination. I had my script, I had the story. Basically, it was all ready to come together there on the page of the final draft. The problem is that I wasn't quite content with my own hand-drawn rendering of these characters. It just wasn't the right vibe for this story. And so I wanted it to have that sort of seriousness of a typeface. Luckily, I know a type designer.
It was an instant yes. Instant yes. I mean, it was like, let's not even think about it, like, let's not even, yeah, it was just like, this seems fun, cool, weird, and different. And that is all the boxes that I need to have checked to work on a project.
That's David Jonathan Ross, who is a renowned type designer. You've seen his work on packaging and in advertisements, whether you realize it or not.
I never had the alphabet changing as the script changed. You're right. Like I've never like designed a typeface, and then the client comes back and it's like, oh, actually the A kind of looks like an R now, but with a little thingy off of it. By the way, I've changed the alphabet, and now there are this many letters, and so that to me was one of the coolest parts about this collaboration was to essentially like throw in that extra curveball of like because I'm thinking about shapes and systems and metrics and trying to figure out vertical fonts, and then meanwhile like the entire world around me is spinning.
So what did we get out of this collaboration? We got a font. Boom, boom, boom. Man, that looks good. We sent that font, which is called Salamandrine, over to the book designers at FSG, and we're also going to post it online for anyone and everyone to use as they wish. Did it matter? Did this whole exploration and development and collaboration actually make Moonbound a better novel? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just about sweating the details. It's about caring enough to sort of load the ballast beneath the surface of the story. This script, everything I just showed you, it only appears in these pages like 6 or 8 times. But for anyone who's curious enough to go looking and maybe start to piece it together to try to assemble the alphabet themselves, there's actually something waiting there. It was fun to do. It's incredibly satisfying to see these letters, this font used in this book. And if you've been thinking about doing the same thing for your own project, now you know how to start.